Going on, everybody? People again. It's going to be another review of some mesh, and this time it is actually going to be Promo Vapor Wax Mesh. Now, upon first receiving this mesh, before I get into that, I've gotten a lot of recommendations to do a review of this Promo Wax Mesh, and I was kind of skeptical because there's just so many wax meshes out there, and I was just thinking, what makes this so unique in comparison to everything else? And so when I went on the site before I got a piece, because they didn't send me one, I don't care if people send me one or not, but when I went on there and looked it up, I actually pretty much looked up all the facts and stuff. And I'm going to read this real quick for you guys so you can actually hear what, if you haven't actually seen or really heard anything, I want you guys to hear actually what is on the back of this card. It says, Vapor Wax Mesh breaks in immediately, has incredible hold and unmatched longevity for the most control of any mesh on the market. Our made in the US process allows our exclusive coating to be applied during the production process, protecting every single fiber of the mesh. This eliminates the inconsistency and flaking inherent in wax meshes. So with that said, they go in a little bit more into detail on the website and everything about what they kind of do and use in reference to their formula and their process for actually coating and infusing the mesh. I would have to say that I'm a little impressed, but I'm also kind of let down about the mesh. I just was. It's kind of hard to explain, and I'm gonna try my best too. But so getting into the packaging, it's pretty nice. It's I believe folded over 3 times and then put into this nice little Ziploc bag, and then having the card on the top. And pull it out, no flaking, no waxy feel. If anything, it kind of feels, I want to say, a little bit like Ultra Mesh. I don't know if any of you guys remember that Ultra Mesh. If you get any brine pre-strung heads, like factory strung brine heads, at least older ones and sometimes the newer ones, they had this mesh on it that was called Ultra Mesh. And that's what I like to compare this to, because it is a little hard. You pull it out of the bag, and the first thing I thought was, like, this feels about as hard as ECM Black. And I know I've said before that I don't really like comparing meshes and stuff, but it's kind of hard not to when there's just so much out on the market, and then people kind of set their standards at, hey, this is the good stuff, this is the bad stuff, this is what I'm going to say is a good one. I just have to say that it's very comparable to that, except for the fact that it is actually not wax feeling. There is no real wax feel to this mesh. I'd have to say the process that they use, which is actually a mixture of silicone and then I guess a couple other different chemicals to do this, but the process of applying it fully infuses it. And then as I was stringing it, I actually came across this part of the mesh. Again, I've said it before, not everything is perfect. No mesh is ever really perfect. There's always little things that you kind of notice that happen to the mesh because of the process of them being made and so on. And anything like a silicone or kind of a rubber-based formula is going to have this happen. I don't care who you are, it's going to happen. It's happened to Gonzo, it's happened to Martin Mesh, it's happened to all the old school rubber coated ones that you saw back in the early 2000s that they were trying to put out, and then also the plastic meshes. Those were weird, but so it had this thing where actually right around here when I was stretching it and pulling it, and then I got down into one of my lockdowns, or special knots as everybody's starting to call them. I got down into my 3rd sidewall hole, and then I actually saw this kind of film over top of a couple of the diamonds, and I started peeling at it, and it actually pulled the material that they applied to the mesh off of the mesh. So right around here is no longer protected by whatever they put into the mesh. You can't really see a difference, but I definitely feel a difference. So it's just one of those things where you guys got to kind of pay attention to the mesh. And sometimes I've seen it happen with wax mesh where they kind of just miss part of the mesh for some reason. But aside from that little kind of, I guess you could say, negative note, it's very good mesh. It strings up very nicely. It's very symmetrical, very consistent. It's just, if you're more of a hard mesh person, like if you use String King 1X, ECM Black, or just old school traditional hard mesh, if you use any of that stuff, this is what you definitely want to go for, because it doesn't really break in, and I've strung this up a couple different ways. It doesn't really necessarily break in, like get softer really. It might shift a little more, but it doesn't really get soft. And like the packaging says, instant break-in. So the moment you start stringing it up, that's basically what you're gonna get, is exactly what you're stringing up. So Promo Vapor Wax, I'd have to, I mean, for me as using it, I would have to say that it's decent. I'm kind of a hard mesh guy. I like a little bit of a harder pocket since I don't face off anymore. I'm more of a kind of a midi, more leaning towards attack nowadays than I was a midi face off, defensive midi, everything really. But this is definitely more of an attackman's mesh, or even just a solid deep holes mesh if you like hard mesh. It's not bad. It's growing. They're definitely growing out there, and a lot of people are liking it. But personally, I wouldn't use it. It's great. It's a great product. Don't get me wrong, but I probably wouldn't actually use this. It's just one of those feelings where it's just like I just can't use it. I mean, some people pick up a shaft and they're like, "Yep, can't use this," or they pick up a head and they're like, "No way." Or they put on a helmet and they're like, this is not going to work for me. It's just one of those moments where it's not going to work for me. Great product. Go check it out. Go check out their website and everything like that. If your buddy has it, check it out in their stick. But Promo Vapor Wax, definitely on my good list. Not on my bad list, just not on my usable list. Not one that I would actually use. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked this. A little bit of a intricate workings of Promo Vapor Wax Mesh. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you later.